Hey guys, Ricky Carter with Crafted Worship here. Want to go over how to plan and prepare for a revival service for your church today. Look, we're going to look at how you plan before, during, and after a revival service, or at least how we do it here at our church. Thank you again for joining the channel. If you like the content, make sure you click the thumbs up, like it, subscribe to us, and give us feedback. Don't feel ashamed to leave a comment, whether it's asking for help or, hey, this is how I do it. And I love not to just tell you guys how we do it, but I love to learn from you guys as well. So help us in doing that. Now I got a little cheat sheet that I'm going to be looking off of, so just be aware of that. If I look off the screen like this, I'm not like crazy or anything. So let's talk about pre-revival services. I think first off, you need to communicate. You need to talk with your lead pastor, the pastoral staff, however your church is set up. And you need to find out what is the purpose and what is the topic of the revival. The revival we're in, Pastor wanted to get some of the community pastors in our area, and we want to talk about Jesus is. We talked about how Jesus unites, delivers, Jesus' love, Jesus' power, and tonight is our last night. We're going to be talking about how Jesus is returning. You also need to communicate, how many songs does the pastor want, does the speaker want to lead up into their message? Do they want to have a big altar time? Is there a plan for each night so that you can plan out the songs? And again, what is the purpose? When we talk about revival, a lot of us already just assume revival is just to get us pumped up, to get us excited, to get us passionate. But we're learning that this revival is more about how we're doing community together. Obviously, God is working in great ways during our revival services, but we are finding out so much more that our community can do so much greater as we are together. So do that. Second off, you got to pray. You got to seek God for what songs are going to fit. Again, if you find out, sometimes you don't, right? Sometimes you don't know what the speaker is going to speak on. Sometimes it's the same speaker all nights. As in ours, we're having a speaker each night. And so sometimes you won't know. So if you do know, say, God, even if you don't know, say, God, man, help us lead us into what songs are going to be beneficial to you. You need to seek God for maybe any scriptures that you might want to use to introduce a song, whether it's to start off the worship service in the middle of it. Don't just allow the pastor that's preaching to be able to use our revival services. Use this for your worship team and for the congregation to learn about these songs that we're singing. And then pray for volunteers. We all know that that's a struggle to get volunteers to commit for multiple nights. We started Sunday morning. We had 2 services Sunday morning, a Sunday night service, Monday night, Tuesday night, and now Wednesday night. So make sure you're doing that. The third thing you need to do is to schedule out in advance. Once you find out that you're having services, whether you know what the topics are or anything, find out the dates and start right away. You might say, well, Ricky, we know we're doing it 3 months out. I'm telling you, you cannot plan in advance and regret it. You will regret not doing it. So make sure that you schedule. We use Planning Center. And again, even if you don't know the songs, put those people in positions. And if you're a church that says, well, this girl always sings this song or this guy always sings this song, revival is going to test you and push you to your limits. So don't worry about the songs first. Worry about your people first, and know that. Remember that your team works, right? Remember that if you're full-time at a church, we get here and we have a little bit more freedom to take off if we need to, but your team is working a 9 to 5 or however many hours, and they're coming straight from work to the church each and every night. So make sure you do that. And then just make sure that your people are responding to the planning center. Communicate in that way. If you set them out, if you're out a month or 2 in advance, hey, just send them a text. Hey, I haven't seen that you confirmed or denied. Do that so you can help me out. All right. So make sure that you guys are scheduling. And then I've already used it, but communicate. You have to continue to communicate. Don't just schedule the people and click send, but you need to schedule people and shoot them a text, say, hey, one of our guys, his name is Austin. Hey, Austin, man, I got you on these nights. Will that work for you? Are you going to play the bass? Are you going to play the drums? Are you going to play whatever? So that we can figure that out. And again, however your team works, you got to work for what's you. Don't just say, well, this guy on YouTube said to do this. You got to know what works for your team and do that. And then again, not just scheduling them and clicking send, but calling them, texting them, casting vision for your team. Again, this is revival. It's about, what God's going to do for the church, but this is also a great opportunity for you to cast vision and how your team is going to benefit in these revival services. And then the technical part of it, right? We got to pre-plan all of our stuff. We use ProPresenter, and so what I've done is once I finalize all the songs, most of the time that they don't change. Once we know kind of what's going to happen, we stick to those songs that we've prayed about, and we know that God has used. And so we set up each night in ProPresenter so that we're not doing it. I'm not doing it every night. I have all the nights set up like 2 weeks before revival even happens. I have that. We use Light Key, and the way that we run Light Key is probably a little different than a lot of you guys. So we actually plan like Sunday mornings in blocks per song. We don't just have a big template that they can just push whatever buttons. And so what's cool about that is I'm able to set up every night in advance. So all of our lyrics, all of our graphics, all of the sermon notes, if I got those in advance, they're already put on Planning Center or on ProPresenter, and then all of our light cues are set. So make sure you guys do that. Also, when you have revival, you might have a friend that knows somebody that can play guitar, and you might not have that on a normal basis. And so sometimes you got to reroute your board. Make sure that you guys do that. Don't show up when rehearsal time starts and go, oh man, I forgot to do this. For instance, last night we had a guy come in, and I knew that we usually use track guitars, but for revivals, we just use a click and a metronome so that we can just flow. And I know, man, I got to pull that track channel out and plug him. So make sure you guys are taking care of how the band is set up, how the vocals are set up, and doing that. And then just make sure that you set up those tracks. If that's what you're doing, set up those tracks in advance. Make sure you check them out. Make sure you're automating and fading the songs so it's an effortless, seamless transition, right? We don't want to waste time because you don't have a lot of time, right? A lot of us are getting off of work, coming in, and we just don't have that time to waste. All right. Now I got to flip over my cheat sheet, and then we'll talk about what we do during our revival times, right? So the best thing that I have found in getting a team is feeding them, not just spiritually, but physically. So for instance, our services start at 7 o'clock. By 5:15, I have food ready for our team every night. Our first night, it's pizza, right? It's easy. Where we're at, we have Bojangles. It's a chicken place. And so I have that set up at 5:15. I have drinks, foods, plates, all that kind of stuff set up in a room, and I feed our team. And you want to make sure you do that. You also want to make sure that you're feeding them spiritually, right? Don't just rush into it. But if there's a scripture that you might want to share before your rehearsal time starts, or a testimony, maybe what God's been doing in the nights before, go ahead and share that. And then actually show them that you care, right? Don't just use them as a piece for the team, but make sure that they know that you're cared. Another way, I told you that I feed them, but another way to show them that you care, and you guys can see it, but this rack right here, we spent like $150 just on snacks. There's like cupcakes and pastries and stuff, and then there's fruit for the people that don't like the fat stuff, pineapple juice for the singers, waters, and then a bunch of throat coat and cough drops and anything that they could need. And that again just shows your team how much you really care about them, and you don't just want to use them for their skills, but you want to use them because you love them and they're your friends. All right. So That's the first thing, feed the team. The second one is plan a sound check and a call time. Again, we start feeding at 5:15, but they know that 5:45 they need to be starting to transition over into the sanctuary so that we can set up, put on, we use in-ears, so we're getting our packs, we're getting our in-ears, we're getting our microphones for the singers, we're powering on our equipment. By the way, before that, I have already turned on ProPresenter, the screens, the lights, the soundboard, there's music playing, so make sure you're doing that before. But make sure that you guys have a call time for that. And then during your rehearsal, what we do, because we're on a short time, I don't like to practice when people are in the room. People normally get into the sanctuary about 30 minutes before service starts. So from 6 to 6:20 is our time that we can do whatever we need to do. In doing that, we practice all the transitions from song to song. We also practice any songs that somebody might have a hard time with, or might need to go over a certain section that might just be a weird, musical break or whatever it might be. So we're doing that. We're also talking through the service. Hey, we're going to open with announcements. During the announcements, we're going to be playing this chord progression. And then we're going to follow into a prayer, a meet and greet, and then song one. So during those 20 minutes, that's how we're doing that. Let me just give you a piece of golden advice. Do not do new songs for revival, okay? I understand you want to do something cool and you want to do something exciting, and you heard this awesome song on Spotify or on the radio, whatever, and you're like, man, this song really speaks. People don't know those songs, and you want people to be engaged during revival times. You don't want them just staring at the screen learning a new song. So please take my advice. I've done that before. Don't do that. And then understand what I'm about to say. You got to lower your expectations, but not the quality. And I say that because our guitar player and our bass player are playing every night, and it would be selfish of me to expect them to play every single lead line exactly how they would on a normal Sunday morning, because they have a week or 2 weeks to prepare for that. Revival, again, they're coming from work to playing that night, then they're going back to work the next day, and then they're coming. So I have to lower my expectations. But let me tell you something. Man, we have a blessed and awesome church, and our musicians and our singers are top notch. I brag on them all the time. They are so awesome, and so they exceed my expectations. Your quality cannot change, right? You have to give your very best, and so if that means, man, our guitar player hasn't learned this line like he usually is, cut the line out and just play, a chord. Don't make it a distraction. So make sure that you lower your expectations and be mindful of what your team's limitations are, but don't lower your quality, all right? And then prayer, right? When we get done with our rehearsal time, even before we start it, we say a prayer. And then when we get done, we get the speaker, we get our pastoral staff, and we get all of our worship and tech team together about 15 minutes before the service, and we pray and ask God for His guidance and His wisdom. You can plan everything that you want, but you really need His prayer and His blessing in doing that, okay? Last but not least, after revival, right? After a revival happens each night, you want to make sure that you tell your team thank you and really mean it. Don't just say, oh man, thanks for coming, and then just walk off like you don't. Really, really invest time into them. Sit with them on the stage, sit with them in a chair for a few minutes and just say, hey man, it's a long week. Stick in there with me, but I appreciate what you're doing. If your church has the funds and you feel led to, man, give them a gift card if you can. Just tell them, hey man, I'm going to take you out to lunch, but make sure you tell them thank you in doing that. Make sure that you guys are texting and calling them if they have to leave right after service. Make sure you're just shooting them that text and saying, hey man, you did a great job tonight. Thank you so much for your commitment for the team and for the church, and man, you really, I love you as a friend, as a family member, and that's how we do it, man. We consider each other family, and so make sure you guys are doing that. And then once all of revival is over, take that next Sunday morning and celebrate your team on church, on the stage, on Sunday morning. Don't just do it in private, but in front of the church, say, guys, you guys did a great job. Get the church to show their appreciation for them. And that just builds them up so much more. Guys, it can't just be behind the scenes that we tell them thank you. I'm not saying that they don't receive that, because I believe that they do, but they expect it from you. They expect it from me. But when you point out in front of all the church the sacrifice that they make, man, it excites them. It shows them value. It shows them that you care about them and that you love them. So there it is. That's how we run through rehearsals. That's how we run through how we set up for revivals. That's how we talk to people after revivals. And let me know in the comments, man, hey, I wouldn't do this. I would do this instead. Share your feedback. And I look forward to making some more videos like this in the future. And if there's something that you might need help with, put it in the comment. If there's a way that I can help you, I can make a video. I can just shoot you a comment back. But we want to bless you guys today. And we just want to say thank you again for being with us on the channel. Don't forget, like and subscribe so that we can reach more people and we can bless God in everything that we do. You guys have a great week. Remember, God is in control and He loves you wholeheartedly. Give Him your very best, and we'll see you guys in the next one.